this will be my Com 400 summative video regarding my internship at Internship Research and Innovation. Since October 2021, I have been an assistant intern in the social media department at Internship Research and Innovation. My job typically consisted of creating advertisements and posts for their newest project called Mentorship, which had HER in the middle, which is a campaign project that we officially launched in January of 2022. However, I was also in charge of other posts and campaign projects, not just for Internship, but also for companies that would commission Internship. Just a quick rundown, mentorship is where we provide resources and training to women and girls so that they are better equipped to become leaders. Additionally, my job included helping the social media department run Internship social media accounts, which included attending events and scheduling meetings. Additionally, I also learned how to become an admin, so post, repost, and share appropriate but also relevant content. So in my opinion, the best part of Com 400 would obviously have to be the experiential learning aspect. Being given the opportunity to gain experience during school while also counting it as a course is huge. Personally, being provided with the opportunity to gain experience before graduation gives 4F100 students a major advantage as we've already gained real-world experience. Additionally, the experiential learning aspect gives students the opportunity to experience a job position or a career path that they may have been interested in, kind of giving them that insight if it is what they expected and if it's something that they want to go into post-graduation. Something that I want to quickly touch up on that I actually ended up enjoying doing was the infographic that we had to do for Com 400 and the editing of this video. These kinds of projects don't appeal to every student, and they didn't appeal to me in the beginning. I didn't think I was artsy or creative enough, nor did I think I was even skilled enough to try my hand at graphic design. However, I did find it to be a fun way to express myself while also highlighting the things that I experienced during my internship, including the skills I picked up along the way, such as content creation and transferable skills, which if you've taken Com 400, you know are super important. As for things I would change about the course, I personally wouldn't change anything about the course. I truly enjoyed the course content that was being given through asynchronous and synchronous lectures, alongside the fact that us students had access to videos called Guest Cases, where Brock alumni spoke about their experiences in their career path, the challenges they have faced, and the advice that they would give people just starting out, like us graduating students. It was great to hear other students' real life experiences and the things they have gone through, the good and the bad, to get to where they are. It was also great being given advice because it's sometimes hard to find your footing after graduation. I know for me personally, it's kind of been a fear of mine since second year. I know that's kind of weird to say that you're scared of graduating, but school has just been such a comfort for me, regardless of how stressful it is. It's basically the only thing I've known, aside from, you know, like part-time jobs and stuff. So it was great to hear about past students' experiences and what they've done. So experiential learning didn't exactly meet my expectations, but that's solely due to the restrictions that were put in place for workplaces. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, Internship was not able to hold live events such as meetings and get-togethers. However, we worked with what we had and we succeeded. We were holding online events, workshops, meetings, get-togethers. Also, because of how team-oriented Internship is, we had a handful of team meetings every month in order to ensure everyone was doing well and on the right track. And even then, we had kind of weekly check-ins with one another, and we would have to constantly collaborate because we kind of all depend on each other to run things smoothly. It was also a way for us to connect with one another since we were all working remotely. As for the class itself, it definitely exceeded my expectations. I learned so much more than I thought I would, including things I didn't even know about, which surprised me since I have this internal expectation of myself to know everything since I'm in fourth year. Keeping in mind that things, especially in industries, are not set in stone. Things are constantly changing, which means you have to learn and grow with these changes, which is something I didn't really think about prior to my internship or this course. A big connection I made between the theories that I've learned throughout my undergraduate coursework is that no matter what position you hold in a company or a business, voice your opinion and tell them your ideas. Say the idea that you think is crazy or won't get picked up, because there's always a chance that it'll either get considered or even accepted. Just because you're in a lower position doesn't mean you can't speak up and be a leader or help lead your department. Departments and workplaces are very much based on collaborating and team building. So keep in mind that other people depend on you just as much as you may depend on them. So helping the company grow is also helping you guys grow. Additionally, because of my internship at Unimonium, the atmosphere, team building, and the authentic leadership they have has pushed me to have a growth mindset. Rather than just working with what I have and thinking that the skills that I have can't be worked on has changed significantly. I feel so much more motivated and excited to experiment and try new things and look into possible career paths that I would have never looked into prior to my internship. Due to this course and my internship, I'm definitely more open to learning and experiencing new things, and I've also learned how to take a professional approach to scenarios, situations, and even typical job tasks. The professionals I've encountered and the people I currently work with are constantly willing to learn and grow. They never seem to think that they're top-tier professionals who can't get any better at their careers or crafts or learn anything more than they already know. Also, they're open to listening to others and taking into account what others have experienced. They seem to constantly look for ways to not only build and develop themselves, but also their work environment. Having a remote placement affected my experience in this course by encouraging me to work on my own and really hone in on focusing on the work that I need to get done. It definitely helped with my time management and helped me with staying focused. I learned from taking part in a remote placement as opposed to one in person was that the expectations are the same, but the overall feel, specifically for the placement I was in, felt so much more relaxed and fun. I say that because it wasn't the typical corporate environment that I feel almost everyone has an idea of, where you're coming in really early, dressed in business formal clothing, sitting at a desk in an open cubicle all day. While the work and goals had the same expectations as an in-person placement, being able to work remotely provided a much more calming atmosphere that felt casual enough to where me and the rest of the Unimonium team could work comfortably, but also collaboratively. Having to conduct work from home helped me with oral and written communication, as we had consistent check-ins with managers, team meetings, and we had to communicate with those within our department to ensure we were each doing our parts of the projects that we had been assigned. Working remotely also helped me with my time management skills, as I did not necessarily have reminders or someone checking in on me or someone checking over my shoulder at my computer screen, so I became very independent and learned how to schedule projects out, including how long certain projects take, such as blog posts or announcements. The advice that I would give specifically to future students to make the most out of remote locations would be to get yourself settled in the correct environment, somewhere you can really focus on your work and lay out all that you need, supplies, papers, an agenda, even a giant whiteboard calendar, etc., whatever is needed, and a place you can really organize. I know that's not exactly ideal for everybody, but for me personally, I found that finding my own somewhat little office space so that I can truly look over everything that I have to do and what is expected of me, even lay out dates or upcoming dates, even dates that might have been pushed forward or back. You really need to remind yourself of these things because someone else isn't going to do them for you. Another big thing is asking your employers if there's anything extra that you can do, any other work that you can take on, or even small things like LinkedIn courses that they recommend. Anything extra you can do makes a lasting impression and adds more to your experience, which can lead to a better resume. For employers, with what I experienced at Unimonium, I really like the manager checking in with us, the team meetings, and even the little staff events to show that we are appreciated and thought of and that our voice does matter. I find a really big thing is that people tend to forget that their workers are humans and that there are other things going on, not just them going to work, and that people aren't robots. They can't just shut everything down when they get to work. So I think checking in on people, even if it just isn't like a personal check-in, it's just a work check-in, you can definitely read people's language on what's happening and get an insight as to what they might be going through. The actions I have taken to meet my learning objectives was I spoke to the head manager who oversees all the departments, and I spoke to the manager of my department. A learning objective of mine was learning about the overall role of marketing managers, which included questions like who depends on them and what role do they play in the workplace. Both managers were able to give me personal insight into what they've experienced, the roles they hold, and their tasks and responsibilities. The transferable skills that I have acquired through my internship that I will be able to highlight for future employers and use in my career are communication skills, self-management skills, teamwork and collaboration, adaptability, creativity, and critical thinking. One transferable skill that I have developed throughout this year has been adaptability. During November 2021, I was in charge of creating several posts for a company's upcoming holiday event while also completing my typical job of posting on Udemanium's socials. Essentially, the company had given Udemanium the wrong dates that these projects needed to be completed by, resulting in me needing to complete them about 2 weeks sooner than the initial date given. That's when completing projects, especially those that will be posted on social media, it's really important to keep in mind that the projects might need to be completed before the initial date given. So being able to adapt to those new given dates and even environments, because you might not be able to work in that specific office space that I mentioned before, is really important. I found that prior to my internship, I typically get into the groove of doing something, and I'll continue to do it that way until I get told that something needs to change or that they're expecting a bit more. And then I would take the leap of asking what I can improve on or what they're expecting to see. The critical reviews made me think about the work I had been doing at Udemanium and how my work ethic has changed and how differently I conduct work compared to the beginning of the semester, even how I've grown to be more of a social and team-based person. The critical reviews essentially helped me with the push to develop a growth mindset. What I learned about myself is that I always feared taking a step forward, thinking that I didn't garner the abilities or knowledge necessary to do certain tasks or jobs, and I was even afraid of stepping out of my comfort zone and trying new things. Experiencing new things in new environments is really scary, especially when you have a fear of letting people down or messing up. My internship pushed me to conduct work that I had been interested in but feared that I just wasn't good enough at what I wanted to work on. But my department manager put me in charge of socials and creating posts, and both the department manager and head manager were impressed with my writing skills and my ability to convey messages the way they needed to through different social platforms. Though I think the anxiety will always be there lingering, I'm going to keep in mind how my internship went and how that just because I fear doing something different or something that I might not be 100% familiar with, I should still just go for it and try it. And if I do need clarification or help with something, I can always double check or ask. Don't let fear take opportunities from you. What I have learned from my successes during my placement is that confidence is key. Like I had stated before, anxiety and fears are a big thing to overcome, but pushing yourself forward to do something, even if you fail at it first, is such a big deal because you still did it. You tried, you experienced it, you learned something new, whether it's something new about yourself, a career path you may have not looked up prior, or even just newer skills you picked up on that you might need or you might have. It's always best to keep in mind that you will not be amazing or perfect at everything you do, especially the first time you do it. I had the problem of comparing my work to others who have been social media specialists or marketing professionals for years, and I end up feeling like my work isn't good enough, but that's not true. What's important is trying your best and doing the work your employer expects from you, and if they're not happy, they'll tell you, or you can always ask for feedback. I didn't actually experience any disappointments, but a challenge I did experience was achieving enough hours to pass the class, which was about 120 plus hours. I've always put into mind that in a work environment, if something needs to get done or if someone wants me to do something, they'll just ask that of me. And I've had this fear of annoying the people I work with, especially those higher up than me, because I never wanted to seem like I didn't know what I was doing or I couldn't find stuff to do or just overall feel like I'm pestering them about things. However, it's never a problem to reach out and ask for extra work or ask if they want you to help with anything or if they want you to complete extra work. Also, I think a big thing to keep in mind too is that supervisors and managers, they're very busy people. They do have more things to worry about than we may realize. So even if they do forget or they're late getting back to you, it's always okay to send at least one reminder and just be like, oh, like, I noticed that you didn't get back to me with the work. Like, I just wanted to check in and see if you still wanted me to complete anything or if you need help with anything. You know, be polite and professional as possible, but still remind them that you are available and willing to help them with anything they need. What I've learned about the expectations of myself and what my employers expect of me is that they seem to be quite similar. I like to do the best that I can and try my hardest at whatever I'm doing because I have personal goals in my mind that I want to achieve, and I think the same goes for my employers. I have high expectations of the employees they hire, and I hold myself to a high standard, so I can only assume that they do the same, especially when you've been hired to do a specific job. So they expect you to complete those tasks and get the job done, but also to the best of your ability. In a past job of mine, I noticed how the manager was pushing me to do things I was afraid of, such as serving a large group of people because I have social anxiety, because she knew that I was capable of doing so, but also because the job had to get done. A big thing I've learned is to try and not psych myself out, which is easier said than done, but it's never as bad as I make it out to be. And when I meet those expectations and I achieve what's needed or go above and beyond, it reflects well on you, and you'll be the person that stands out and the person that can be depended on. The advice that I would give to future students considering this course is just do it. Having a degree is a really big thing, a huge thing. However, all it shows employers is that you've been taught about a certain subject. There's not really any proof for them to look over of you being skilled at certain jobs or the fact that you can complete certain tasks, such as creating social media posts for clients that can be used during special events such as Black Friday or even Christmas. So why not take a leap, go the extra mile? Take the opportunity of being able to experience a professional work environment while gaining skills and knowledge. This course gives you the amazing opportunity of being able to gain work experience hours, along with being able to provide examples of the work that you've completed that displays your skills and talents, such as the infographic that we made. As someone with social anxiety, you've 100% got this.